They say a woman should always wait for the man to make the first move. That's the rule, right? Wrong. That rule was created by people who misunderstand human psychology. The truth is, men do pursue women when the right emotions are triggered. And no, it's not about looks, money, or always being available. In fact, those things often ruin the chase. Here's what might sound strange at first, but changes everything. The moment you stop trying so hard, the dynamic shifts. When you stop treating him like a prize and instead recognize yourself as the one with options, men notice. They feel something they can't quite name, an emotional pull, a curiosity that begins to grow. That spark, that's the beginning of real attraction. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding the psychology of attraction and using it to set yourself apart from the 99% of women still trapped in outdated mindsets. See, men aren't drawn to effort. They're drawn to presence, to mystery, to quiet confidence, to a woman who knows who she is, who doesn't need him but chooses him. But here's the catch. Most women ruin that energy within the first few days of getting to know a man. They send too many texts. They compliment him too early. They rush to prove they're special. And every time they do, they become predictable. And predictability kills attraction. In this video, you'll learn the psychological shifts that make a man want to win you over. This isn't about cheesy flirting tips or bizarre tricks. It's about subtle, powerful changes in how you speak, move, and think, changes that completely shift the energy of your interactions. If you've ever felt like men lose interest quickly, if you've ever wondered why he was all in at first and then suddenly pulled away, if you're tired of always being the one chasing, this will change your perspective and maybe even your love life. Let's begin with one simple shift. Stop being the first to text him. If he never has to wonder what you're doing, how you are, or where your attention is, he'll never chase you. One of the most common mistakes women make is always initiating. It feels polite. It seems proactive. But to him, it's predictable. It signals that you're more interested than he is, and once that imbalance is felt, attraction fades. You see, attraction thrives on tension, not chaos or drama, but healthy emotional tension. The kind that makes him wonder, what is she thinking? Why hasn't she reached out? Is she thinking about me too? That wondering, that is the beginning of pursuit. If you always text first, you rob him of the chance to show interest. He has no room to step forward, no reason to initiate, and no internal motivation to engage. You end up doing all the emotional labor, and nothing is less attractive than that. A man wants to feel like he's choosing a woman, not like a woman is desperately trying to win his attention. Here's what most women don't realize. You don't have to ignore him. You just need to break the pattern. If you always message first in the morning, stop. Let him make the next move. And when he does, don't act surprised. Just respond calmly, like it's the most natural thing in the world. That subtle shift changes everything. Let's say you're used to initiating contact every day. Try stepping back just for 2 or 3 days and watch what happens. Maybe he stays quiet at first. That's okay. But if he's even slightly interested, he'll feel that silence. And that silence creates space for desire to grow. Men don't chase women who are always available. They chase women who know their worth and don't feel the need to prove it. And when he does text you, don't overreact. Don't explain why you were quiet. Just respond with ease, calm, confident, unfazed. Because when you stop reaching out first, you stop chasing. And that's exactly when he starts. Now remember this. Become his emotional mystery. Men don't seek women they can easily figure out. They seek women who stir something inside them, something they can't quite explain. If he can read you like a book, he'll close it quickly. But if you leave space for curiosity, if you give him something to wonder about, to decode, then even in your absence, his mind will stay with you. This isn't about being dishonest. It's not about being mysterious for no reason. It's about not revealing everything all at once. Most women make the mistake of laying their whole life story on the table during the very first conversation. Their feelings, their intentions, their past, but that doesn't build connection. It kills the tension. Because when a man feels like he already knows exactly what you think, where you are, and how you feel about him, there are no more questions, no more pursuit. Instead, be a woman with depth. Speak honestly but not excessively. Answer his questions with sincerity, but don't feel the need to fill every silence. Sometimes a quiet pause speaks louder than 1,000 words. Talk about your life in ways that show you're interesting, but leave space for curiosity. Let him wonder. Be loving, but not constantly available. Be kind, but not overly sweet. Be funny, but grounded. And every now and then, let him guess your next move. Let him feel your presence without fully understanding it. Imagine he asks, "What do you do for fun?" Instead of listing hobbies like it's a resume, smile and say, "Depends on the day. Sometimes I disappear completely. And sometimes I'm the life of the party." It's not about confusing him. It's about activating his imagination, giving him something to think about long after the conversation ends. Because when you're not an open book but an emotional mystery, he keeps coming back, hoping to read just one more page. And here's the best part. The more he tries to understand you, the deeper his emotional bond will grow. Be simple on the outside, complex on the inside. Be open but never transparent. That's how you make him chase. Be less available, not rude. There's a difference. There's a difference between being desired and being too easy to reach. Most women confuse availability with value. They think constant access, instant replies, and endless readiness show loyalty and interest. But the truth? Men don't value what's always in front of them. They value what's rare, what seems special, what must be earned. Being less available doesn't mean being cold. It means your life doesn't revolve around his attention. And that, right there, is real strength. Because when you're always available, there's no urgency, no need for him to act, no reason for him to chase. But when you create space emotionally, mentally, physically, you give him the chance to feel something real. That, where is she? Feeling. That little spark of curiosity. That's exactly where attraction begins. If he knows he can reach you at any moment, you stop being exciting. But if you have your own rhythm, your own world, he starts to see your time as something valuable. And that changes everything. You're not ignoring him. You're not punishing him. You're simply not dependent on his attention to feel good. And that's magnetic. Every woman who knows her worth understands this. Being constantly available makes you replaceable. Being slightly unpredictable makes you unforgettable. Don't try to prove your loyalty at the beginning. Let him earn it. Let him feel he needs a reason to get closer. That's how the chase begins. Let him miss you. Here's the hard truth. Most women never give a man the chance to miss them. They flood him with attention. Message after message. Always present. Always available. And then they wonder, why is he pulling away? Why is he losing interest? Why isn't he chasing me? Because he never had the space to feel your absence. Attraction doesn't grow in closeness. It grows in space. But many women fear silence. They think, if I don't text him, he'll forget me. If I don't call, another woman will take my place. That fear keeps them stuck. And that dependency kills the spark. Wake up. If he is truly interested, he needs time to realize it. And that only happens when you step back. Let him sit with the stillness. Let him miss your voice. Let him wonder, why didn't she call today? That question, that's the fuel for his desire. Because when you are constantly present, always reminding him you're there, always trying to stay in his mind, you achieve the opposite. You become background noise. And no man chases background noise. So here's a reminder. Don't be afraid to pull back. Stop believing that constant presence is the way to win him over. Because the women who are pursued, truly pursued, are the ones who know when to step back so he can step forward. Give him space. He'll either miss you or replace you, but either way, you'll know where you truly stand. And that's worth more than chasing someone who never moved toward you in the first place. Create moments of unpredictability, because routine, that's where attraction goes to die. If he knows exactly what you'll say, how you'll behave, and when you'll text, the spark disappears. And without emotion, there's no chase. Men are emotional beings. They respond to energy shifts, to surprise, to what feels alive and new. That's why some women who may not be the most traditionally beautiful are still the ones being chased. Why? Because they're not boring. Because they're not predictable. Because they carry a presence that makes you look again. That's what makes them magnetic. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being unstable. It means being confidently unreadable. You don't need to do anything wild or dramatic. You just need to stop being predictable. Stop texting him good morning every day. Don't be available every night. Break the rhythm he's gotten used to. If he can't reach you right away, he starts thinking about you. Suddenly, you become someone he doesn't quite understand. And that curiosity, that's where attraction begins to grow. Because guess what? Curiosity draws attention. Attention leads to emotional investment. And emotional investment, that's what sparked the chase. The problem with most women is that they're too careful, too polite, too easy to figure out. And although men say they want a sweet, stable woman, what really fascinates them is a woman who surprises them without being chaotic. So show up when he doesn't expect you. Change your tone. Pull back when the energy gets too heavy. Be playful one day, more reserved the next. Keep him on his toes, not confused, but intrigued. Make him wonder what you're thinking. Even make his friends curious. Spark his desire to uncover you. Because the woman he can't fully read is the woman he chases. Now let's talk about compliments. Stop overpraising him. Nothing kills attraction faster than treating a man like a god. Before he's earned that position, many women believe compliments are the key. They think, if I praise his looks, his smile, his voice, he'll feel special. He'll fall for me. But here's the truth. Too many compliments can come off as desperate. They show him you're overly impressed, that you're trying to win him over with flattery, and worse, that you've probably said the same thing to 10 other men before him. Men sense that energy. They can feel when someone is seeking validation. Compliments should be rare, sincere, and intentional, not scattered like confetti. Because the more often you give them, the less they mean. And if he starts expecting them, they lose their effect. You're not his fan. You're the woman he should want to impress. So flip the script. Don't constantly validate him. Let him work for your attention. Let him wonder what you think of him. Let him feel your presence without drowning in your praise. And when you do give a compliment, it should feel earned. That's what makes it powerful. If every other woman is calling him attractive, your silence stands out. If everyone else is seeking his approval, you become the one whose approval he seeks. That's the difference between the woman who gets overlooked and the woman who gets chased. It's not about being cold. It's about having standards. Showing him that you're not impressed by appearances, but by depth. Keep your compliments brief. Make them honest. And don't give him any reason to think he already has you. Because the moment he feels like there's nothing left to earn, he stops trying. Let silence create tension. Most women are afraid of silence. They rush to fill every pause with more words, more emojis, more explanations. But silence is powerful. It creates tension, and tension is the fuel of attraction. When you allow space, you create room for emotion. You let his mind wander. You let his imagination play. And suddenly he starts to feel you. Beyond the surface, He starts to notice your absence. And that absence creates value, because a man who feels your silence will chase your presence. And here's the problem. Many women believe silence means something is wrong. They panic. They over-message. They send 2 texts in a row. And just like that, they destroy the very energy that could have captivated him. Think about it. How many times have you said something, then instantly felt the urge to explain it? How often have you waited 2 minutes after his reply and couldn't resist sending a follow-up just to keep the conversation alive? That's not confidence. That's fear. And men feel it. But when you give space to silence, you send a very different message. I'm not afraid of this moment. I don't need to feel the air to feel secure. I am calm in my presence. And that calm, that stillness, is irresistible. You don't have to respond to everything he says right away. You don't need to comment on every word, fill every pause, or smooth every silence. Sometimes it's far more powerful to let a moment breathe. Because that pause, that silence, it draws him in. It makes him wonder what you're thinking. It creates desire for your next word. Silence creates contrast. If you're not always talking, your words carry more weight. If you're not always available, your presence becomes more valuable. When you do show up, you are seen differently. You're seen as a woman who understands the power of presence, which means you understand your own worth. So in your next conversation, stop treating silence like a problem you have to fix. Lean back. Let the moment hang. Let him wonder. Let him reach. Let silence speak. It creates mystery. It builds emotional tension. And most of all, it makes him work for the connection. Because silence isn't a lack, it's an invitation. Speak as if you have options. You don't need to say other men are interested in you. You don't need to name drop or hint at admirers. You simply need to speak with the quiet confidence of someone who could walk away at any moment and still be completely whole. That's what it means to speak as if you have options. It's not arrogance. It's not bravado. It's energy. A calm, grounded assurance that says, I don't chase. I attract, and I choose wisely. The moment most women meet a man they really like, they lose that energy. They shrink. They second-guess every word. They overthink, overtext, overgive. They try to seem perfect. And without realizing it, they start speaking like a woman hoping to be chosen. But that energy, it kills attraction. When you speak as if you have options, everything changes. You don't rush your replies. You don't seek constant reassurance. You don't spiral if he pulls away. Because you know your worth doesn't depend on his attention. You're not desperate. And if it's not him, someone better will come along. That attitude, it shows it's in your voice, your posture, the way you listen, the way you respond, measured, confident, whole. And suddenly, he's the one wondering if it's good enough for you, not the other way around. And here's the best part. You don't need 10 men lining up to feel this way. You only need self-respect, emotional strength, and the courage to mean it. Because a woman with true options doesn't measure her worth by numbers. She defines it by standards. When you speak as if your time is valuable, when you carry yourself like your life is already full, when you're not afraid to be alone, he feels it. And that is what makes him pursue you. Not your compliments, not your constant effort, not your availability, but the quiet, undeniable truth, you don't need him to be happy. You love to have him by your side, but only if he brings peace, not pressure. So speak as if you have options, because once you do, he'll start fighting for a place among them. Be the prize, not the fan. If you treat him like the reward, he'll treat you like the one doing the chasing. Many women put men on a pedestal. They treat them like the goal, the trophy, as if their attention is the ultimate win, as if their presence is a blessing. But let me remind you, You're not here to worship him. You're here to decide if he deserves to be worshipped. And that simple shift, that inner knowing, it changes everything. It shifts the entire dynamic. Because when you act like the admirer, you become predictable, easy, replaceable. But when you remember that you are the prize, not because of arrogance, not because you think you're better, but because you know what you bring to the table, that everything realigns. You stop chasing. You start attracting. This isn't about ego. It's about self-respect. You know your worth. You know your standards. And you don't lower them for anyone who doesn't rise to meet them. Because a woman who carries herself as a prize will never have to beg to be chosen. You agree with everything. You laugh at every joke. You try too hard to be liked. And even if he enjoys the attention at first, deep down he's not chasing you. He's just soaking up admiration. But when you act like the prize, everything changes. You become the challenge. You create tension. You ignite desire. Not the desire to be adored, but the desire to earn your interest, because men don't truly desire women who hand themselves over too easily. They desire women who see themselves as extraordinary, women who aren't impressed by charm alone, women who don't give approval just because he smiles, women who live full, rich lives with or without him. And when you show up like that, he feels it. He senses that he must bring something real to the table, that your presence isn't a prize to be used, but a space to be respected. So shift your energy. Stop idolizing him. Stop trying so hard. Stop playing the role of the woman who's desperate to win him at any cost. You're not here to earn his approval. You're here to decide whether he fits into your life. Be the prize, and he'll treat you like someone worth winning. Now here's one of the hardest truths. Leave first before he does. Most women wait too long. They feel the shift. They sense him pulling away. But instead of walking away with grace, they cling tighter, trying to save it, to explain, to fix it. That's a mistake. If he's losing interest, don't beg, don't chase. Walk yourself to the door. Leaving first doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. It means you respect your own energy enough to notice when the balance is gone. And you love yourself enough to leave with your dignity intact. Because here's the truth. The woman who leaves first is never forgotten. The one who clings, she's always overlooked. When you walk away, you send a powerful message. Emotional control, self-respect, personal power. You're not afraid to let go. You know your peace, your time, your energy, they're worth more than empty potential. In that moment, the entire dynamic flips. Now he's the one wondering what happened. Now he's the one thinking about you. Now he's the one chasing. You don't need to explain. You don't need to argue. You don't even need to announce your exit. Just pull your energy back. Quietly, calmly, cleanly. Because the woman who knows when to walk away isn't the one chasing love. She's the one who gets found by it. So when the energy shifts, when his effort fades, when the spark begins to dim, don't wait for him to say goodbye. Say it yourself. Leave while your self-respect is still intact. And watch how quickly he realizes what he's lost. That's the truth no one says out loud. The moment you stop chasing men is the moment they start chasing you. Not because you are playing games, but because you finally realize what you're worth. Most women beg for attention when they should be demanding respect. You're not here to earn his love. You're here to evaluate it. And if you've lived through this shift yourself, or if you're just beginning to step into this truth, share your story in the comments. I read them, I respond, and I'm here for you. Woman to woman. Let's build from truth, not illusion.